Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thought I'd do something a bit different today. We're here on summer vacation. We're here in the village of well, it's a town actually, town of Caerphilly in South Wales, and it's famous for two things. One is a type of cheese, but that's not why we're here today. The other thing is a tonking great castle, as you can see. There we go. Massive castle, one of the biggest in the UK. Proper defensive moat. Really impressive outer curtain wall and barbican gatehouse. This is just one side of it. Massive curtain wall with defensive towers. I believe it's one of the largest in the UK. It's certainly the largest castle square footage wise in Wales, and I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the biggest in the entire UK. Really impressive. Probably my most favourite castle in the whole of the UK, along with Harlech again, but that's sort of mid Wales on the coast, the west coast. But we're here today in Caerphilly, so we'll go in and take a look. Built in the 1270s, 1280s I believe, or finished then. Again, it's part of the sort of defensive structures that Longshanks built in his quelling of the Welsh rebellions. I'll say we'll go in, take a proper look and have a good look round. It's a lovely castle, one of the best in the UK. So here we go, in through the barbican. Portcullis there, as you can see. And this is where there would have been probably a second, third and fourth with the gaps there. So in we go. So we're inside the castle now. Again, really impressive curtain walls, towers and the like. Here's a picture of how it looked in 1957. As you can see, covers a really large square area. Really good castle, this one. Right guys, I was with those two. So, yeah. There's the lovely people from Cadw.
Yes, indeed.
So in we go into the castle itself. So we're in the, what would we call, the outer bailey, and then the inner bailey in there, and we'll take a look at that later as well. Some stocks. People throwing rotten tomatoes at you if you were naughty back in the medieval times. And we have some mock-ups over here from trebuchet. As we all know, these things were used during sieges to break down the castle walls. So as you can see, another moat. So it would have had an inner and outer moat as well. So incredibly well defended. We have here a couple of examples of trebuchets, which I believe were test fired at one point. And we have what the Romans used to call a scorpion, Just a big bolt thrower really, those of you familiar with Warhammer. There's a bolt thrower, basically a large crossbow. And again, a couple of trebuchets, massively counterweighted catapults. Again, invented by the French, hence the trebuchet name. So, quick look at that. I mean, they wouldn't have thrown wooden balls, there would have been stone blocks, but this is again, it's just for showing people how it worked. They wouldn't have had metal blocks either, they would have been wooden, obviously. Capable of throwing large weights at quite a distance. Pinnacle of catapult technology. Just before gunpowder came in and made them obsolete. And there we go. Just a little bit on how they worked. Pulling the arm down. Some had ratchets on, which would make it easier to pull back. Loading the block there, pull the thing, the weight would drop down, the arm would swing, and your big rocks to break down the castle walls. Range of 120 metres. Quite a distance, 8 people to operate apparently. Again, the only downside really is very slow preparation time to load and fire, but very effective when they worked. So we're going to make our way into the inner courtyard. Lovely sunny morning this morning. It's quite unusual for Wales, but it is in August, so we expect this sort of weather this time of year. To the inner courtyard. To the second gatehouse. As you can see, Really large. Very impressive. See damage there? I believe that's from the Civil War era. I think the royalists were holed up at one point. The parliamentarians came along, started shooting things, hence the damage. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. Here we have a couple of dragons.
Have you ever wondered why the Welsh flag has a red dragon on it? Well, there are lots of ancient Welsh stories passed down from generation to generation. But this is the tale of the red and white dragons. Long, long ago, a red dragon lived peacefully here in Wales. All was well until one day, the land was invaded by a white dragon. The red dragon resisted fiercely, and the two creatures battled in the skies above this green and pleasant land. On and on the conflict raged, and such were the terrible, ear-splitting roars of the two feuding dragons, the people of the land became ill. Crops failed, animals were dying, women lost their babies. Someone had to break up the fight. Enter Heath, a Welshman of extraordinary bravery, who lured the two dragons towards a giant cauldron filled to the brim with mead. Like bees to honey, the dragons took the bait and were soon drinking their fill, becoming more and more intoxicated as they did. Tying the now docile beasts in a giant silk sheet, Heath buried them deep beneath Dinas Emrys, a mountain in Eryri, Snowdonia. There the sleeping dragons lay for centuries. The land, animals, and people living on it were restored to good health, until the day King Vortigern decided he would build a castle on the very same mountain. Every time the walls of his impressive fortress were built, the land shook and the walls tumbled to the ground. Time and again, the walls went up, and time and again, they crumbled and fell. In frustration, he consulted a wise man named Merlin, who told him about the sleeping dragons buried deep underground, and suggested that they might be the root of the problem. Vortigern dug down and freed the dragons, who immediately took to the skies and resumed their vicious battle. This time, though, the red dragon was victorious, defeating the invading white beast. Vortigern built his castle, and peace returned to the land. That tale was written around the time that the Anglo-Normans were invading Wales. It's no wonder the red dragon has become a symbol of Welsh pride, nationhood, and resilience.
And there we go. Of course, it's a load of old rubbish, because dragons don't exist. And neither did Merlin. Or Vortigern. Well, Vortigern was probably a real guy. It's what the legends of King Arthur are probably based around. At least that's what I believe, anyway. Right, onward into the inner courtyard. Through the second barbican. Again, portcullis slots. As we can see here, the inner gatehouse. Again, lots of curtain walls. Very impressive for a castle. One of my favourites. Really well built as well, as you can see, because it stood the test of time really well. Most of it's still standing. I mean, obviously it's been renovated at various points, but yeah, if you ever come to Wales, I would certainly recommend a visit to Caerphilly and the castle itself. Hard to convey the impressiveness of the size unless you're here yourself. So if you come in, come and have a look. It's well worth the effort and time. Again, this is the other side of the castle. Just seems to go on and on. Really impressive. Can't emphasize that enough. Pop over this side and have a look at the moat. This pied wagtail on the wall. Look at that. There he is, looking for insects. There he goes. And across on the other side. As you can see. So there we go, guys. That's Caerphilly Castle. Again, not really linked to the channel, but sort of tangentially. Sort of do a combat and conflict on the tabletop. I'm sure we've all played siege games before. So again, if you come into Wales, certainly come and have a look. Very impressive. Right, thanks again, guys, for listening to my drivel. Next one, I think we're going to Castle Koch, which is a lot smaller, and it was added to in the Victorian times to make it more like a stately home. But we'll have a look at that in the next video. So for now, guys, thanks very much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.